Let's go. Hold on here. Let's go. 1 second late. Oh, but I think we're on time now, unless YouTube hasn't gotten it yet. Hold on. They might not have gotten it yet.
You might eventually get it.
YouTube it's taking its sweet time, you know. Sometimes it's just like I don't feel like going on. And we're live. Folks, welcome to G-Tree S, the long-awaited debut.
Hey, chat GP Tree. We did that once.
GP Tree, let's go. Baby, how the heck are we doing? We are here while we could not stream the game together because Spectrum. I love it.
Spectrum.
So a hell of a showdown tonight and a close game for a good chunk of it. But I'm here with the one and only UrinatingTree to break it all down. Another not so great defensive performance. Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris Boswell, MVP.
Hey, Boswell wins this team at least 3 games a year. He won you week 1 against the Jets. But the only guys who really more or less showed up, like Rodgers wasn't really the problem here. I feel like he wasn't, prime Rodgers. But at the same time, the second half, they did nothing. They had 49 yards of offense until that garbage drive. Garbage time drive, I should say. I think the real issue right now is once Deshaun Elliott went down, everything just went to shit. I know, as I said, a lot of people blame the ref ball, and there were some heinous calls. Like that offsides, that should have been. Dude,
that offsides is blatant. What? I don't know.
I'm just sitting there how's that not offsides?
I
know people said Tucker.
He had a free play. Because there was Wilson, right? He threw it down the middle of the right side to Wilson. And it was incomplete, and there was okay, we're gonna get another play. That one was egregious, and there was not great officiating at all. But that's been the NFL today because we've had whistles.
It's been bad all week, dude. I mean, Tampa Bay, the interception that wasn't an interception. Oh, there was a whistle. The stuff with the tush push, which now they're gonna use as an impetus to ban because they're just in there we can't enforce it. No, it's not a tush push problem. It's a ref ball problem. It always has been a ref ball problem.
Well, and, the NFL can talk about we're going to get AI to help with our refs just so we don't have to pay them and make them full-time officials here. I would say
I don't think even full-time officials are going to do it. It's just this is going to cost the team a game, and it's going to come down the line, and it comes down to that. But
that's what we're saying.
What can you say?
I want to talk about a few things, because the Steelers definitely looked a lot better in that first half. And one of the major reasons why, and he's been good now for a couple of straight games, is Jalen Warren. They were running that ball. Packers have the number 1 run defense in the league. And as that game was going on later in the first half, it seems like he was ripping off some chunks. They kept running over to that left side, and the blocking was good. He was able to catch the edge, and it was making a difference. And then someone was just saying that 3 carries for Jalen Warren in the second half. I'm curious we'll talk about the defense and stuff. I'm curious from your standpoint, where are you pointing the fingers at the most of going this is why the Steelers couldn't close out this game?
Honestly, I feel like it's an adjustment issue. The Packers adjusted in the second half. I don't think the Steelers really did anything there. I'm going to be honest there. I mean, if you look on Twitter right now, a lot of people are ripping on Tomlin, especially in terms of the stuff that's coming out of the local media. And I think a lot of that, once again, it's an adjustment. They didn't really do anything. I mean, you have 49 yards of offense in the second half. It more or less comes into an idea of where you're getting gashed on defense. I think they gave up something 326 yards of offense or something like that. And it shows what a true contender is to what the Steelers are. And Green Bay did what they had to do. They had a sloppy first half. I'm not going to lie about that.
Yeah. No, it was rough.
I mean, you're going to have that situation where Jalen Warren's able to bust off plays. You were able to generate offense. The defense was able to clamp down on Jordan Love. McManus was missing kicks. Boswell was doing Boswell things.
Yep.
I think the problem is you weren't able to convert many of those field goals into touchdowns. I think that's what killed you in the end. But at the end of the day, you have to get more than 49 yards of offense before garbage time. And if you can't do that, guess what? You're going to lose.
Well, I think it's a few things. And you want to talk about a sloppy first half, dude, Keyshawn Nixon, holy God. First bad. you had penalties. He stopped that one route going down the right side. He stopped running.
Yeah. It was not just that. It was also that, pretty much Aaron Rodgers just chucked up a prayer, and it was an underthrown ball and he's not even looking at the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to call that every time.
Of course. And the problem with the Packers right now in terms of their cornerbacks is that they have no depth there, right? Like we have been ragging on Nate Hobbs, who has had rough games. And then we're talking about Nixon. Things definitely got cleaned up in that second half. The pass rush started to get after Rodgers a little bit more. The thing I want to talk to you about too, is it really feels like, especially in the fourth quarter, I mean, you had Jordan Love through 20 consecutive completions. It is the most in Packers history since Brett Favre back in, what was it, 07, I think they were saying that he threw. He had a phenomenal game, like Love. And this is now the second week in a row where they've really come to life in the fourth quarter and they really started to get things going. Do you point to the defensive injuries? Because I know for the Steelers, before the Bengals game, there was a nice stretch there where you're like, oh, Steelers defense looking good. Like they're actually able to step it up, but it just seems all that money that is invested in the defense, like it's not showing up when it needs to.
The problem is with the Steeler defense, it's based on it's a Tampa 2. So it relies on a lot of inside linebacker play and pressure on the quarterback. If TJ Watt and Cam Hayward aren't getting pressure, they're not doing the superhero shit. The reality is you're going to get situations like you saw the last 2 weeks. And the big thing that you notice, Jordan Love did not get sacked once.
No.
And if you're not getting pressure on that, I mean, TJ Watt had a few moments. He nearly had a few plays.
Yep.
But the problem is Jordan Love had all the time in the world. They were able to pick him apart. And the way to pick them apart, inside slants and out routes. And guess what they were running a lot of? Inside slants and out routes. Tucker Kraft, carte blanche.
Oh, my
Romeo
God.
Dobbs, the out route on 4th down and short.
The yak was
how you beat
crazy. It was pretty nuts. I mean, and for the Packers, like they found success. Like the run game started to get going a little bit more in the second half as well, because that's also when they're able to do really. But like, dude, that first half was 3 and out, missed field goals everywhere. Right?
It was sloppy.
But you got to shout out Matt LaFleur, man, because you talk about adjustments. Like, holy cow, they came out looking like a completely different team in that second half. And we were talking about the officiating, you know, when definitely there was some, I mean, that offsides was blatant. DK Metcalf, which Leif was just talking about, holy cow, man. Like, what the hell? Like, that is a drive killer. And
I'm just sitting there screaming at him when he's poking him in the eye. I'm like, dude, you have gone from a 3rd and 3 to a near impossible situation. That might have killed them more than the Gainwell fumble, if I'm going to be completely honest here.
Yeah.
And he's had that issue in Seattle too. And I've known a few people have mentioned that as well. As I said, it's kind of like you replaced George Pickens with a rich man's George Pickens in terms of the contract. And that's the kind of thing that drives you up a wall because it's so unnecessary. That's the thing that takes it out of the way. There's no reason to poke a dude in the damn eye.
No.
When you are literally fighting for your life, when you're trying to gain another game on your division. When the Bengals lose a horrific game to the Jets because they can't play defense, the Ravens win against the Bears. And now you're in a situation where, instead of 3 games, now you're kind of questioning, okay, is this it? Because you play the Colts next week.
Yeah.
And
who are looking incredible.
They're looking strong. And do you think you have a chance against them, or are you going to get blown out?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Caleb. I don't even know if the Packers need to address a kicker situation, because when Haversick came in, he was perfect for 2 straight weeks. So like it makes sense why McManus is in there, right? Because he's the guy that you're paying all that money to. And so you're going to, if he can play, he's going to play. And 2 weeks, you know, McManus has been really solid for Green Bay. Don't get me wrong. And even that long kick, I think it was like a 56-yard attempt. It's like, okay, he misses that. It happens. Yeah. But that one right before half, when it was like a 44-yarder, like that was a problem. You need to hit that, especially when this looked like it was going to be a field goal game for the majority of the first half.
And I know Heinz Field gets a little tough in terms of its kicking, but at the same time, Boswell just nails it down the middle. It's like magnets are attracted to that ball and just drives it. It's like, Boswell. It's what he does.
All's well at Boswell. And it feels like now, because you and I have talked about this for years, right? That Mike Tomlin and talking about it might just be a point where it's like, hey, there needs to be a change, right? But like the Packers, it is very rare for them to move on from their coaches. And it usually takes a lot. And I feel like for the Steelers, like nothing's over, but it's kind of what you were talking about. I feel like you just kind of get a sense after these last 2 weeks of like, okay, this is where the Steelers are. They can win games. They can put things together, right? And if things are firing on all cylinders, you're rocking. But that defense, where all that money is tied up right now, there are some gaping holes in that defense, especially looking at that secondary. Dude, there was throws that Jordan Love did, like to Tucker Kraft.
They were all prayers. They should not have been caught.
Going to prayers.
And I'm just like, how is that happening? I mean, that prayer to Christian Watson. The thing is, too, Deshaun Elliott's out. Juan Thornhill's back there. He's not playing it properly. He's under it. Guess what? That's an easy catch. The Deshaun Elliott play, too. I mean, they're saying Tucker Kraft pushed off. I mean, I don't know how you really feel about that. But at the same time, that should not have been a catch.
Yeah, he also ran into him and then ran past him. Like the defender went like this, and then went past him, and then Tucker Kraft's like, "Oh, okay, I'm just going to catch and run." Yeah,
and then Deshaun Elliott had the injury, and I mean that seems like a season ender, especially with the way he wasn't putting much on it, and that's a killer because with that secondary now you're looking at Juan Thornhill and Chuck Clark, and that's the highlight of your secondary. And you talk about flaws. This defense is really old. Jalen Ramsey in his 30s. Darius Slay in his 30s. He gets burned pretty frequently because, he's 33, 32. It happens like that.
Yeah.
You have Patrick Queen, who's, relatively young.
Sure.
Cam Hayward's 37. You have a couple guys that are still, like, more or less bouncing around who are just, okay, I mean, great. You have names, but this is like a defense that would have done all right in 2020, but as I said, if TJ Watt is not doing superhero shit, and he's masked a lot of flaws on this defense for a long time, you get situations like you had today. You have situations where you give up 470 yards to the Bengals. You give up 450 yards to the Green Bay Packers, and you just look foolish. Because, as I said, we've been on the same carousel since 2017, 2018.
It's been a bit.
And the organization doesn't want to change anything because they think everything's fine. Because the reality is the problem is the schematics. Yeah. They've changed everything. You've changed players. You've changed personnel. You've changed quarterback. You've changed coordinators. You've changed pretty much everything. The only thing you haven't changed, owner, coach, scheme. Those are the only things you haven't changed.
Yeah.
And the problem I know like a lot of the national media tries to play defense for Tomlin, and I get it. He's a good coach, but he's past his expiration date. He's been there for a long time. Same thing with Harbaugh in Baltimore. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, Tara, those, unless Tree, you feel differently about those unis. They're
better than the Bumblebees. I am not a fan of the Bumblebees.
I don't love the Bumblebees either, but I don't know about that one.
Look, I remember there's a picture of Barry Foster wearing that jersey back in the 90s, and it was terrible. It was terrible. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
By the way, Tree, I appreciate you staying up late, and I know we couldn't stream together, so this was the next best thing. Cheers, brother. Cracked a beer for you. Appreciate the hell out of you, buddy.
Right here. So here is the original jersey they had in 94, 95. It's even worse than they had now. This is the remake of what they had. It's bad.
I will say
the new one's even worse. Like, you have the the Pittsburgh logo right here. You have an ugly number right here. It's bad. You think these jerseys look bad? These ones were even worse.
It was like the design stopped tonight at their belly button. Like, it was just, it looked unfinished. The pants were something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, if this was the biggest problem for the Steelers, you're doing okay. So it wasn't very good. Again, Cody, Mike Tomlin, great coach. I think there's plenty of places that would kill to have Mike Tomlin as a coach. But same thing with Mike McCarthy in Green Bay, right? There's just time. Yep.
Just get expired.
There's just time.
It just happens. He's just past his expiration date. The Penguins just had this happen with Mike Sullivan. Mike Sullivan won back-to-back Stanley Cups, was a really good coach for a long time, was the right coach for the right time. But there he had been past his expiration for Pittsburgh for a number of years. And it was obvious that both sides needed to move on. And now with the Penguins getting a fresh head coach and a fresh perspective, they're now 6-2-1. They are now in a situation where, okay, things look fresh. Things look, relatively youthful now. You have new guys that struggled under the old system finally getting some life.
Yeah.
And Mike Sullivan's in New York struggling because they're pretty much the Penguins. It's just things change. Like people come, people go. Like people fall past their expiration date all the time, dude. Bill Belichick was past his expiration date.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Doing great in college.
It's not a bad thing. Oh, tremendous. I mean, dude, he's getting all the underage girls, especially those the Jordan Hudsons of the world. Oh yeah.
Dude,
totally. One big beautiful bill.
If he could he's just like, please just give me millions of dollars so I can go away forever. It'd be nice. And
they're probably gonna buy him out for nothing.
So it's funny because this unfortunately has been a thing now, like on the internet. There is a very vocal group of Packers fans, and especially after this first half, who are like, fire Matt LaFleur. Because we've been talking
that's
about
every fan base, though, man.
I know. We were talking about, kind of the conservative play calling, and you look at it in the first half, and the offense was bad. They could not get anything going. But now, like putting together that second half and like him going for it on fourth down, not only in this game, but also in last week's game against the Cardinals with like 2:32 left. This is the kind of stuff that does make the difference. And you talk about adjustments that it's like, okay, LaFleur can do this thing. And I feel like considering the amount of pressure that was on, like, there was a whole lot of outside noise going on this week heading into this game.
Yes.
I don't know, man. Like it just felt like Aaron Rodgers was going to ball out and just the offense, which really didn't look good in the first, they really turned that thing around. They were getting long, sustained drives. And
Jordan Love looked strong. He was able to pretty much do whatever he wanted. And there were a few that probably could have been picked off, but at the same time, it's just bad defensive positioning. I mean, it kind of bailed him out in the end, but Love did what he needed to do. I mean, you have to give him props for that.
Did 20 straight completions.
Yep, and Love was able to open it up. You were able to open up the game for number 23, also Josh Jacobs, too.
Yep. So, yeah, no, it was like, where are you looking at for the Steelers kind of going forward? Are we still looking at like wild? Because the frustrating thing, if you're a Steelers fan, is this is probably the worst the AFC North has looked in a while.
Yes,
right?
It was opened up pretty much right in your path.
That's the problem, right? Because the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow, and you're like, okay, there's an opportunity there. The Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns, and the Ravens, while they did get a big win today, right? They've been without Lamar Jackson. They have definitely not looked their best. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a little bit of a resurgence later in the season, but that's like taking advantage of this and building these divisional leads. And it feels like if they won against the Bengals last week, I feel like there's not as much.
Exactly, because you're 5-2.
Yeah,
that's the problem. And now you're losing to Joe Flacco, who was only there for 10 days and without Trey Hendrickson. The thing is, you have to understand with the issue right now, the Ravens, for the next couple of weeks, they're playing the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, and the Jets, and the Bengals again.
They're probably going to win all those games.
Yes, and the Steelers are playing the Colts, the Chargers, the Bengals, because who knows what happens because Joe Flacco brought them again, the Bears, who could be pretty much a wild card, Bills, and Ravens. So they are reaching a tough schedule, and if you're not careful, Steelers could be 4-5, especially if Herbert balls out. And I know the Chargers are pretty banged up right now, but at the same time, it's one of those situations where you don't really want to move the needle. I mean, with the Colts, I mean, they could happen, but they beat us last year with Joe Flacco. And now they're stronger.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor looks pretty unstoppable right now. Their defense does have some issues.
Playing like an MVP.
Yeah. I mean, and it's weird to say, but I mean, yeah, as I said, I figured the offense has usually been the problem. I didn't think the defense would be this bad. And I know, like, you get spoiled because, TJ Watt's just going to do TJ Watt things. And just, he'll be around forever. He is 30. You give him $41 million a year, but he's been relatively ineffective because teams have schemed against him because they don't move him around. They keep him in the same position.
They threw up that graphic, right? Because there's like Micah Parsons and TJ Watt, and like the amount of like chip blocks and also like doubling.
Yes.
There was a ton on TJ Watt because exactly what you said. And the problem with the Steelers on that D line is they've never had someone else to be their opposite TJ Watt who can at least be effective enough to be somebody has to scheme for him. And that guy's just not on the team right now.
Sometimes I know Alex Highsmith they really like. He has had double-digit sacks in the past. So there is somebody you can scheme against, but he's been hurt on and off. Nick Herbig is more of a specialty pass rusher. He doesn't really do well against the run.
Yeah.
And then your interior defensive line is Cam Hayward. And I mean, Derek Harmon hasn't been bad, but they've been really frustrated with Keanu Benton. And you've had a couple injuries there too. Daniel Ekawale has been hurt. He got hurt today too. So that's more defensive line depth you're going to lose there as well. I know, as I said, like if you're not getting pressure, and the Tampa 2 relies on pressure. If you can't get pressure from the edge, pressure from the interior line, Cam Hayward just smacking down balls left and right, you're going to have issues like you've had the last 2 weeks because the secondary is just not built to defend.
Yeah. Well, and for the Packers defense too, right? Because they look pretty damn good tonight. Like Rashawn Gary was a difference maker in this game. He was, right? Like
because they're trying to protect against Micah Parsons, and guess what? Rashawn Gary's going to get open space.
And the other thing that we've been missing him for weeks was Devontae Wyatt being back on that defensive line. Like that also made a huge difference. You look at a lot of the runs that the Steelers were successful with in the first half. It was a lot of outside runs, like they were running away from him. So I think ultimately, like the Packers defense locked it down, and like that's why you pay Micah Parsons all that money, right?
Exactly,
big time sack when it mattered, and it felt like Jordan Love was on one in that second half, and in order to beat him, you needed to play near perfect football. And while there was no complimentary football for the Packers in the first half, they finally found it in the second half, and it was just the opposite for the Steelers. Because, like, dude, they were up, they were looking real good in that first half, and it started to fall apart. Yeah, Wyatt being back was huge. Completely agree.
It was.
Yeah, completely and totally agree. So, so that's the thing too, right? It's what is a successful season for the Steelers? Because unfortunately for Steelers fans, they have wanted, okay, we're doing the same thing every single year, and it's, oh, we have a winning record. Maybe we make the wild card. We lose in the wild card, and
then you get crushed.
We get a draft pick in the middle of the first round. And it's just, unfortunately, it's a whole lot of the same thing. And while Rodgers, wasn't at his best tonight, he wasn't the biggest problem on the field.
Of course not. Rodgers hasn't been the biggest problem at all, which, I mean, he's, league average to low-end starter, but it's just the problem is, like, you're not getting Aaron Rodgers in 2020. Like, he can still move around a little bit, but it's obvious he's not the same player. But it's just, as I said, he's 41. I mean, you're not going to get the same guy that he was. You need a course around him. And you never have found a wide receiver 2. Roman Wilson has flashes. You can't really find him. Calvin Austin's coming off a major injury, so he's more of a slot guy, I would say. Tight end-wise, Jonnu Smith had a big drop like in the second half. Muth had a drop as well as a pretty bad penalty, as well as Connor Hayward, he's kind of there. Darnell Washington, they use this more of like a blocking / safety valve, more of a big body. But at the same time, you never really found a foil to DK Metcalf. And I know everyone's going to say George Pickens. George Pickens was never going to work here. He was never going to be a guy that would thrive in a traditional offense. That's why he's doing well in Dallas, because he was a number 1. Alongside CD. Dallas slings the rock like there's no tomorrow. And that's why he's thriving. And he was never going to do that here as much as we want to say he would.
And it's confusing because I feel like they just got away from their game plan that was working in the first half. Like, you could talk about defensive woes, right? And Scadaboo, I don't know, man. I hope he heals up quick. I mean, that has nothing. His injury has nothing to do with his play style, too. I mean, like, I think it was just a freak injury.
It was a fluke injury. I mean, it just landed on his foot. There's nothing to do about that.
You can't really do a whole lot against that. But it's just like if you don't give the ball to Jaylen Warren, who's running well, what are we doing here? And having that balanced attack, it just seems like the play calling was way, way off because it's not like they were super behind.
I feel like they were trying to chase it. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were trying to like prove something with Rodgers or if they were just more or less just trying to extend the passing attack so you can get the running game going again. But I mean, at the same time, it's, as I said, it's like they like to bring in Gainwell for those passing games as well.
Yeah.
Which Gainwell's not bad.
He's good.
But Warren is a solid two-way player. He can catch. I guess. I mean, Warren he's probably your best defensive weapon right now.
Yeah.
Minus Metcalf, but Metcalf is going to be covered by your best corner most times. So you're mostly hoping just for go routes and just see if you can get it there. But it's just how it is.
Acoustic, he's not wrong. I mean, right before the half, Tucker Kraft dropped a third down conversion. And they were going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So it was ugly. They fixed it. They definitely fixed it. That's like, I don't know. I don't get that. So
I think they were chasing the game in the second half. I think that's why you more or less threw twice as much as you ran it. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't really thrown a pass over 30 yards in the air all season. I think he's only thrown like 1 or 2. Yeah. They mostly like to rely on the short game, rely on the receivers to catch.
No, it was tough. And I mean, so like going forward, you look at that Steelers schedule.
Yes.
You talk about the Ravens having a kind of walk in the park for at least a little bit of the rest of the year. You got the Colts, Chargers, like those are two tough.
Those are tough teams, very tough. Man. And I know Chargers and SoFi is pretty much going to be a Steeler home game, but still, that's not going to be easy.
Bengals, Bears, we'll see, but then it's Bills and Ravens. Like, we're starting
and
to
Lions
get back
on the 21st. Dolphins could be, I don't know what they could be. I mean,
the Dolphins are like, wait a minute, we can play football? And they're like, all right, let's go out and play football. I'll never trust the Falcons ever again.
I don't know. It's as I said, I'm not shocked about the Falcons doing that. It's in their MO to randomly just fall apart against a team they should crush. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, no, the DK penalty, you can't do it, man. And it's just
that's egregious.
Shout out to Quay Walker.
Like I said, I was screaming at the TV when that happened. I'm like, dude, you cannot just poke a finger in there, man, and deliberately taunt them. That destroyed the entire drive. You go from a 3rd and short to a 3rd and 18. You immediately close off a ton of the playbook, and they just threw a check down to try and get yardage for a punt.
Yeah. I mean, Scott, I'll put it this way, right? Like, you worry about McManus. He made some chip shots later. But the good thing is you have the potential solution on the roster. So if it's something that's actually like a significant problem, they can go ahead and they can put in Haversick again, because he was really good those 2 weeks. He set the franchise record for the longest field goal while he was out in. So
exactly,
you know what I mean? Like it was pretty nuts. Oh, dude, Tucker Kraft, man, holy cow! The Steelers had no answer for him whatsoever.
They haven't really been an answer for the inside slate in general. That's mainly been their thing. No. They can't cover him with a slot corner. Can't really cover him with an inside linebacker. Yep. So as I said, that this happened last week too, with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Just inside slants, they just went to town. Yeah.
Dude, Caleb was bad today. Caleb wasn't great last week, but he was real bad today.
I'm going to be honest. Extremely
beat up too.
Quarterback, total cock tease, has flashes of talent. Congratulations, Bears. You have fingernail painting Kyler Murray.
I think, and the thing is too, is like, I think that you can build a squad, because again, you look at where the Bears have found success, and they've won games that they would have lost last year. Exactly. The fact that they had a good run game with Swift, their defense but their defense is decimated right now. Like, they got some significant injuries.
They're down 3 corners, and
they needed their offense to show up today. And guess what? It did not show up today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can. It's a long season to go, but the Ravens, man, I think they have the schedule to do so. And if Lamar comes back healthy, they're going to be okay. So we'll see. I mean, it feels like it's a missed opportunity for Pittsburgh here. And I agree. I was a lot more afraid for this game before the Bengals game. And then when I saw, like, we don't have Jamar Chase, but when I saw what that secondary was looking like, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that one.
I legitimately thought the Steelers were going to, like, Packers were going to randomly just kind of play down like they've done the last couple weeks, kind of struggle, sputter, and then the Steelers would somehow pull it away. That's what I honestly thought it would be, because it's like, it's kind of that kind of MO for both teams, but it just kind of fell apart in the second half. It was looking that way for a first half, but as I said, it's just Packers showed their might. They were able to adjust, make the corrections that they needed, and just clamped.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what they did. They paid, Bisaccia all that money to be special teams coach, and also made him like assistant to the regional manager, head coach. And he's the highest paid special teams coach in the league. The problem is that You just haven't really gotten consistency. I mean, what was it? One of those punts was muffed anyway.
Yep, it was. I think it was his practice squad. I don't know if it was Keyshawn Nixon or I forget the 26. I think his name was.
Yeah, I thought it was or Mike. Was it Robinson? I thought it was Nixon because Nixon's usually the guy who's returning because they've done it a bunch now. They do Nixon. They had Dobbs back there. They had Savion Williams.
And it was all Dobbs. It was all Dobbs after that.
Oh yeah,
he's like, you can't do that.
So I mean, that's what you got. Dude, yeah, I mean, the AFC North is still wide open. I feel like if you are a Ravens fan, you feel a lot more optimism because the entirety of the AFC North lost, right? But
that game has saved your chances right there. And the Steelers losing the last 2 games, I mean, you got a chance to just go wide open on that division. Yep. And now you're only a game back of the Bengals. You should be tied, but then the Bengals defense happened, and Ravens win, and they're back 2.
Yeah, it was Nixon. I thought it was Nixon. Yeah, because I don't think they'd put Robinson back there because he hasn't been fielding anything. Yeah, so Nixon had like a string of like 4 really bad plays like in the first half, and things got much better. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's not great. No, it looks like they were nude on the bottom, but. Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, it was definitely I'm as a Packers fan, man, like holy cow, that offense looked incredible in the second half.
I mean, you should be impressed with that. I mean, they looked pretty solid. They looked like they couldn't be stopped.
It's true. That's true. And, again, they're going to have some tough. So they got the Panthers next week. We'll see if they have Bryce Young back. That will make a big difference on who's quarterbacking, because if you look at the Panthers today.
Boy. Andy Dalton. Do you think Andy Dalton should be investigated for potentially taking a dive? Because that was bad.
It was ugly, man. It was very, very
I think
bad.
That whole team should be. That defense wasn't much better. James Cook just had carte blanche.
Well, Slad, that's the problem too, is like the Steelers, they need to be in a position to actually draft a quarterback too, right? And they're either going to have to do some trade ups or they're going to get somebody who's going to be in the middle of the first round again. And when you're constantly picking there, it feels very bad to say you fire Tomlin and then you just suck. But it feels like that there needs to be a little bit of sucking happening.
You kind of need a year where you go 4-13, where you can just wipe everything clean. But the problem is the Steelers are never going to do that. RD2 doesn't want to deal with that. You want to be in this sort of mid-tier, which is like, great. You may make the playoffs. You may have a little bit of a hubbub. You may get people in the stands. You may get some hype. But at the end of the day, are you really a contender? Because when you see teams like this, you're getting smacked. And it's happened nonstop.
Texans, CJ Stroud didn't get sacked, so that's good. They had a pretty good run game with Marks today.
Yeah.
It was pretty solid.
The thing was the Texans, they did what I would do against a 5-year-old on Madden just to see him rage. Their first half time of possession out of 30 minutes was over 24. They didn't let San Francisco have the ball. That's why they won.
Listen, they got that defense, man, but it just feels like, do you feel like you still have confidence that they can win the division?
I think they can, but once again, it's, as I said, compared to 2 weeks ago, it's a lot less now. I mean, losing to the Bengals was really deflating. I mean, the Packers, you can understand they're a really good team, potential Super Bowl contender. I mean, you expect them to be okay. It's a different class of team. I understand it. But losing to the Bengals, Joe Burrow, or Joe Flacco, that terrible defense, I'm like, what are we doing here? Okay.
That's what the problem is, man. And you know what? Like, I know we are all making fun of the Cowboys, and for good reason. They got their ass whooped today, right? And they could use a guy like Micah Parsons. But the problem is that, they're going to get Overshown back, which, if he's back to where he was, I think that will be a big boost to that defense and that pass rush. The problem is Steelers right now. TJ Watt's your only consistent pass rusher. They're going to double.
He's not getting pressure. He's not getting pressure.
Double the crap out of him. Rashawn Gary had a big night. Like Lucas Van Ness before he got hurt, he was having a nice season. He was having the best start to his season that he's ever had. And they're able to get after the quarterback because everyone, like Tree was talking about, is we got to cover Micah Parsons. We got a game plan for him.
They're double chipping.
So, yeah, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited for the rest of the season. We'll kind of see. It's a big win for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers does not beat all 32 teams. And I mean, for Love to have the night that he had, against his mentor.
Definitely so, man. Hey, as I said, Remember the facts. Favre won the Super Bowl at 27. Rodgers won a Super Bowl at 27. Jordan loves 27.
Next Saturday turns 27.
Exactly.
Tree, you got anything coming out soon?
No, sir. I mean, I've just been
I'm
trying to
going
relax this weekend. I mean, it's been pretty balls to the wall for me this month. So sports ball on Wednesday, but otherwise nothing else, man. So I said, I wish I could have streamed with you, but as I said, I get it.
I'm hoping that next season the internet is not as problematic as it is. I mean, like my video quality has been taking a dive during this stream alone. So yeah, no, it's so great. It's so much fun.
Beautiful, beautiful. As you can tell.
Yeah, I'll be putting out. Johnny's editing the Packers Steelers reaction, so that'll be out probably within the next like 45 or so, and then I'll do post game. Post game's probably gonna come out tomorrow morning. So
absolutely, do what you do.
I appreciate you taking the time, Tree, and staying up late. I know it's 1 o'clock there on the East Coast. It's only midnight here. So,
hey, dude, YouTube time doesn't matter.
It does not. But I appreciate you, brother. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We had over 4,000 people joining us here.
Definitely, man.
So I appreciate you all. We'll see you. We actually should be doing a show on Thursday, so we'll see you again.
Definitely, man. I've got a few punishments ready to go for it, so we should be good.
That's it. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Urinating Tree.
And I'm the losing guy today.
G-Tree S. And you have been urinated?
Urinated or Grossied. I don't know.
Think so.
GP Tree? I don't know.
Yeah, GP Tree.
Yeah, we can
whatever.
do that.